Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button because today we are diving deep into something that affects billions of people, but most do not fully recognize as a serious problem: social media addiction. And before you think this does not apply to you, consider this. How many times have you checked your phone today? How often do you open Instagram or TikTok without consciously deciding to? How many hours do you lose to scrolling that you did not intend to spend? How anxious do you feel when you cannot access your accounts? If you are like most people, social media has infiltrated your life to a degree that would shock you if you saw the actual data. But here is what you need to understand. Social media addiction is not a moral failing or a sign of weak willpower. It is the predictable result of platforms that have been deliberately engineered by some of the smartest psychologists and engineers in the world to be as addictive as possible, exploiting fundamental features of human psychology and brain chemistry that evolved for completely different purposes. You are not failing at self-control, you are up against sophisticated manipulation designed to capture and monetize your attention. So today we are breaking down exactly what social media addiction is, how it works in your brain, why these platforms are so difficult to resist, the serious psychological and social consequences, and most importantly, what you can actually do to take back control of your attention and your life. Let us start with defining what social media addiction actually is, because not everyone who uses social media is addicted, though the line is blurrier than you might think. Social media addiction, sometimes called problematic social media use or social media disorder, is characterized by compulsive use despite negative consequences, inability to reduce or control use despite wanting to, preoccupation with social media even when not using it to escape problems or regulate mood, experiencing withdrawal symptoms like anxiety or irritability when unable to access it, and continued excessive use despite awareness that it is causing problems in your life, relationships, work, school, sleep, mental health. The key distinction is between healthy use, where you consciously choose to engage with social media for specific purposes and can stop when you intend to, and feel anxious or incomplete when not connected. If social media use feels more like a compulsion than a choice, if it is interfering with your ability to be present in your actual life, or if you have tried to cut back and found you cannot, you are likely dealing with addiction. Now let us dive into the neuroscience of why social media is so addictive, because understanding this is crucial. At the center of social media addiction is your brain's reward system, specifically the neurotransmitter dopamine. Dopamine is often called the pleasure chemical, but it is more accurately the anticipation and motivation chemical. Dopamine is what your brain releases when you are seeking rewards, when you are anticipating something good might happen, and when you are motivated to pursue something. It drives you to seek food, connection, novel information, and other things that enhanced survival and reproduction in our evolutionary past. Social media platforms have weaponized this system by implementing what psychologists call variable ratio reinforcement schedules, which is the same mechanism that makes slot machines so addictive. When you pull the slot machine lever or refresh your social media feed, sometimes you get a reward, a like, a comment, an interesting post, a message from someone you like, and sometimes you get nothing. But the unpredictability is what keeps you hooked. If you got the same reward every time, your brain would adapt and the behavior would become routine rather than compelling. But when rewards are unpredictable, dopamine stays elevated and you stay motivated to keep checking because the next refresh might be the big reward. This is why you can check your phone, see nothing interesting, put it down, and then pick it up again 5 minutes later. Your dopamine system is still activated, still anticipating that the next check might deliver the reward. Let us talk about the specific features that social media platforms use to hijack your attention and create addiction. First, there is the infinite scroll, which was deliberately designed to eliminate natural stopping points. Traditional media had endings: the newspaper ended, the TV show ended, the magazine had a back cover. But social media feeds are literally endless. There's always one more post, one more video, one more story. This exploits the Zeigarnik effect, which is the psychological principle that unfinished tasks stay active in your mind. The infinite scroll makes you feel like you are always in the middle of something, never reaching completion, so your brain has difficulty disengaging. Second, there is the pull to refresh mechanism, which is modeled directly on slot machines. The physical gesture of pulling down to refresh creates a moment of anticipation, what will appear, and that anticipation triggers dopamine. You are literally performing the same action as pulling a slot machine lever, activating the same neural reward pathways. Third, there is autoplay for videos and stories, which removes the need for you to make an active decision to continue. The next video starts automatically, exploiting your brain's tendency toward passive consumption and inertia. It is much harder to actively decide to stop than to just keep watching what is already playing. Fourth, there are notifications, which are arguably the most powerful addiction mechanism. Notifications create unpredictable interruptions that hijack your attention regardless of what you are doing. Each notification is a potential reward, and your brain learns to constantly monitor for them. Even when notifications are turned off, you develop phantom notification anxiety where you compulsively check just in case something is there. Fifth, there is quantified social feedback through likes, comments, shares, and follower counts. Humans are inherently social creatures who evolved in small groups, where social acceptance meant survival and rejection meant danger or death. Social media has taken this deep psychological need and turned it into visible, quantifiable metrics that you can check constantly. And the absence of engagement feels like rejection or failure. This creates a dependence on external validation that keeps you coming back to check how your posts are performing and how people are responding to you. Sixth, there is FOMO, fear of missing out, which social media deliberately cultivates. You're constantly exposed to highlight reels of other people's lives, to events happening without you, to conversations and trends you might not be part of. And seventh, there is the social reciprocity norm. When someone likes your post or comments, you feel obligated to reciprocate by engaging with their content, which pulls you deeper into the platform. Social media has turned basic human reciprocity into a mechanism that increases engagement and time spent on the platform. Now let us discuss why social media addiction is particularly insidious and different from other addictions. Unlike substance addictions where the addictive substance is external and can be removed from your environment, your phone is always with you, always accessible, and often necessary for work, communication, and daily functioning. Additionally, social media addiction is socially normalized and even encouraged. Nobody celebrates someone drinking alcohol constantly, but excessive social media use is treated as normal, funny, or inevitable. There is no social pressure to reduce use and plenty of pressure to stay connected. And unlike substances that create obvious physical harm, social media's damage is psychological and gradual: decreased attention span, increased anxiety and depression, disrupted sleep, damaged relationships, lost time, so it is easier to deny or minimize the problem. Let us talk about the serious psychological consequences of social media addiction, because they are significant and well documented by research. First, there is increased anxiety and depression. Constant social comparison creates feelings of inadequacy, envy, and low self-worth. The curated nature of social media, where everyone posts their highlights, creates unrealistic standards and makes your real life feel disappointing by comparison. The validation seeking creates dependence on external approval rather than internal self-worth. The FOMO creates ongoing anxiety about missing out or being excluded. And the constant stimulation and information overload keeps your nervous system in a state of activation that is exhausting and anxiety-producing. Second, there is disrupted sleep. The blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production, making it harder to fall asleep. The stimulating content activates your brain when it should be winding down, and the compulsion to check one more time delays sleep onset. Third, there's decreased attention span and ability to focus. Your brain adapts to the rapid task switching and constant novelty of social media, which makes sustained focus on single tasks feel intolerable and boring. Studies show that heavy social media users have measurably shorter attention spans and more difficulty with deep work and concentration. Fourth, there is increased loneliness and decreased quality of relationships. This seems paradoxical since social media is supposed to connect you, but research consistently shows that heavy social media use is associated with increased loneliness. Digital connections replace, but do not satisfy the need for real, in-person interaction. Time spent on social media is time not spent building real relationships. And the habit of documenting experiences for social media rather than being present in them degrades the quality of actual lived experiences. Fifth, there is diminished self-esteem and increased body image issues, particularly for young people. Constant exposure to filtered, edited, idealized images creates unrealistic standards for appearance and lifestyle. The quantification of social worth through likes and followers makes self-esteem fragile and externally dependent. Sixth, there is lost time and productivity. The average person spends over 2 hours per day on social media, which is over 14 hours per week, over 60 hours per month, over 700 hours per year. That is an entire month of waking hours per year lost to scrolling. For heavy users, the numbers are even more staggering. This is time that could be spent on meaningful activities, relationships, learning, creating, or just being present in your life. And seventh, there is identity confusion and performative living. When you are constantly curating your life for social media, considering how experiences will look online, and presenting a version of yourself designed for likes, you lose touch with your authentic self and what you genuinely value versus what gets engagement. So what do you actually do about social media addiction? First, acknowledge that this is real and that you are up against sophisticated manipulation, not just personal weakness. This is not about shaming yourself, it is about recognizing that you need structural changes, not just willpower. Second, track your actual usage using screen time apps. Most people dramatically underestimate how much they use social media, and seeing the real numbers can be shocking and motivating. Third, delete social media apps from your phone. You can still access them through a browser if needed, but removing the apps adds friction that dramatically reduces compulsive checking. Fourth, turn off all non-essential notifications. Every notification is an interruption designed to pull you back to the platform. Disable them. Fifth, create phone-free zones and times. No phones in the bedroom, during meals, or first thing in the morning. Protect specific times and spaces for being fully present without digital interruption. Sixth, replace social media time with alternative activities. Boredom is a trigger for social media use, so have other options ready: books, hobbies, exercise, in-person socializing. You need to fill the void that reducing social media creates. Seventh, examine why you use social media and address those needs differently. Are you seeking connection? Build real friendships. Are you bored? Find engaging activities. Are you seeking validation? Work on building internal self-worth. Are you avoiding difficult emotions? Develop healthier coping mechanisms. Eighth, use app blockers or limit features that restrict access during certain times. Technology can help counteract the manipulation of other technology. Ninth, curate your feed ruthlessly. Unfollow accounts that make you feel inadequate, anxious, or compulsive. Follow accounts that genuinely add value. And 10th, if social media addiction is severely impacting your life and you cannot control it despite trying, some people find that complete abstinence from social media is necessary, at least temporarily, to break the addiction cycle and recalibrate their attention and values. You need to honestly assess what works for you. There is no shame in recognizing that you cannot use social media in moderation and choosing to eliminate it entirely. Your mental health, relationships, time, and attention are more valuable than any benefits social media provides. One final critical point: Social media companies will not fix this problem because addiction is their business model. They make money by keeping you on the platform as long as possible. Every feature is designed to increase engagement, which is a euphemism for addiction. They have teams of engineers and psychologists whose job is to make these platforms more compelling, more difficult to resist. You cannot rely on them to create healthier platforms. You have to take action to protect yourself. This is about reclaiming your attention, your time, your mental space, and your life from systems designed to exploit you for profit. If this video resonated with you, please share it because social media addiction is affecting billions of people and most do not realize how serious it is. Drop a comment. Have you experienced social media addiction? And what helped you reduce your use? And remember, your worth is not determined by likes. Your life is not less valuable because it is not performed online. And you deserve to live fully present in your actual life rather than in constant digital distraction. You can break free from social media addiction and a life on the other side with deeper focus, richer relationships, better mental health. And reclaimed time is absolutely worth the effort. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.